Welcome to your personalized deep dive into financial literacy.
Oh, sounds exciting.
Yeah, we're going to be exploring this topic through a pretty unique lens.
Okay.
A student workbook for class 6.
Sixth grade.
Yep, from the Central Board of Secondary Education in India.
It's fascinating to see how another culture approaches this, you know? It's going to give you some fresh perspectives on familiar concepts.
Exactly.
Like probably stuff we learned when we were kids, too.
Yeah, get ready to uncover how money and trade evolved, the ins and outs of banking, and the exciting world of digital payments.
I mean, who doesn't love digital payments these days?
Right. Well, by the end, you'll have more than just fun facts.
Okay.
You'll have a broader understanding of how finance shapes our world.
Yeah.
So it all starts with a solid foundation, which is why this workbook kicks things off with a chapter on teamwork.
Teamwork.
Oh, that threw me for a loop at first.
Yeah, I mean, that's not what I'd expect in a financial literacy workbook.
What's the connection to financial literacy?
Well, think about it. Financial systems rely on the same principles that make teams effective.
Okay.
Collaboration, trust, and shared goals. Imagine negotiating a loan.
Yeah.
Clear communication can mean the difference between approval and rejection.
Okay, I see where you're going with this.
Right.
The workbook highlights communication, interpersonal skills, feedback, and conflict resolution as core teamwork skills.
Right. And those skills translate directly to financial success. The workbook emphasizes the benefits of teamwork, like higher productivity, better cooperation, and creative problem solving.
So higher productivity, that's obviously essential for a business to thrive.
Right.
Just like a well-run team needs to operate efficiently.
Yeah.
But what about better cooperation? How does that play into finance?
Think international trade agreements.
Yeah.
Countries have to work together to establish financial relationships that are beneficial for everyone involved.
Right.
It's all about finding common ground, just like a team working towards a shared goal.
Yeah. And creative problem solving that feels essential for navigating financial challenges.
Absolutely.
Whether it's figuring out how to budget effectively or on a larger scale, finding solutions to economic crises.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So even though it seems unexpected, starting with teamwork lays a solid foundation for understanding how interconnected finance really is.
Okay, I'm starting to see the bigger picture here.
Yeah.
Now, I've always been curious about the history of money. Where did it all begin?
Well, before coins and rupees, there was the barter system.
Okay.
The workbook uses the example of Satya and Ahmad. Satya has extra wheat. Ahmad has extra rice they swap, and both end up with what they need.
Makes sense.
Have you ever bartered for anything?
Actually, yeah. Back in college, I traded a vintage record for a textbook I needed.
Oh, wow.
It definitely felt like stepping back in time.
I can imagine. But bartering has its limitations.
Okay.
What if the person you need something from doesn't want what you have to offer? Or what if you're trying to trade something small for something large and valuable? It gets complicated fast.
So that's where money comes in?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But it wasn't a straight line from bartering to the rupee.
Okay.
Different civilizations experimented with all sorts of things as representations of value. Did you know that in ancient India, gold coins were a common form of currency?
Wow, gold coins.
Yeah.
I guess it makes sense given gold's value, but I never pictured it as everyday currency.
Right.
What else did people use?
Oh, the variety is fascinating.
Okay.
The Aztecs used beans, Norwegians used butter, and in colonial America, tobacco leaves and even animal hides were used.
Butter as money.
Yeah,
That's wild.
right. But it highlights that money at its core is just a representation of value agreed upon by society. It's not about the inherent worth of the object itself, but what it represents within that economic system.
Makes sense. So how did we get from beans and butter to the more standardized forms of money we use today?
Well, as trade routes expanded and civilizations interacted, these systems evolved.
Okay.
The workbook mentions that coins were first developed in Lydia, modern-day Turkey, around the 7th century BC.
Okay.
Paper currency, on the other hand, came later, first appearing in China during the 10th century AD.
And when did paper money make its way to India?
Much later, it was introduced by the Mughals in 1236 AD.
So from bartering with rice and wheat to gold coins and eventually paper money, that's quite a journey.
It really is.
Yeah, it sets the stage perfectly for the next evolution banking.
Speaking of evolution, remember that piggy bank analogy?
Yeah.
Banks are like piggy banks on a grander scale.
Right. They provide safekeeping for our money.
Yeah.
But there's more to it than that, isn't there?
Much more. They facilitate loans, investments, and play a vital role in the overall economy.
Okay.
and their history is just as fascinating as the evolution of money itself.
Hmm.
The earliest forms of banking can be traced back thousands of years to ancient Babylonia and Greece.
Thousands of years.
Yeah.
Wow, that's incredible.
It's amazing how some systems endure across centuries.
It really is.
Now, in India, modern banking got its start with the establishment of the Imperial Bank of India in 1921, which later became the State Bank of India in 1955.
Ah, so modern banking in India is relatively recent compared to those ancient civilizations.
Yeah, it is.
Tell me more about these different types of banks. The
Okay.
workbook mentions central banks and commercial banks.
Right. The central bank, in India's case, the Reserve Bank of India, or RBI, is like the conductor of the entire financial orchestra.
Okay.
It manages the country's currency, sets monetary policies, and acts as a financial regulator.
That's a lot of responsibility.
Uh-huh. And then there are the commercial banks.
Okay.
Exactly. Commercial banks are the players on the field, both public and private. These are the banks most people interact with daily.
Right.
The ones where you open an account, get a loan, or use a credit card.
Okay, I see the distinction. So what if I want to open a bank account? I know I'd need some ID and proof of address, but what else is involved?
You're on the right track. It's
Yeah.
a fairly straightforward process. And once you have an account, you'll have different types to choose from, depending on your needs and goals.
Like what? I'm curious about the different options.
Well, there's the classic savings account, which is great for well saving.
Yeah.
You earn a bit of interest, and it's a safe place to keep your funds. Then there's the current account, which is more common for businesses because it allows for frequent transactions.
So a savings account is for building up funds,
right.
while a current account is more for managing day-to-day transactions. What about long-term savings?
Excellent question for it. That there are fixed deposits which offer higher interest rates,
Okay.
but require you to keep your money in the account for a fixed period. And there are recurring deposits, which are great for building saving habits early on.
Okay.
You deposit a fixed amount regularly, like every month, and earn interest on your growing balance.
That's a great idea, especially for students who are just starting to learn about managing their money.
Right.
But speaking of managing money, the workbook also covers the world of digital payments.
Oh, yeah.
Are we ready to dive into that?
Absolutely. This is where things get really interesting. We'll see how technology transforms the way we handle finances, from debit cards to mobile wallets and even biometric-based payments. It's quite the revolution.
Bring on the digital revolution. I'm ready to explore this brave new world of finance.
First, we need to circle back to the Reserve Bank of India.
Our financial conductor. I'm ready for an encore.
Well, the RBI plays a critical role in governing and stabilizing the Indian financial system,
Okay.
both in the physical and digital realms.
Right.
They set regulations, supervise banks, and generally make sure everything runs smoothly.
So like a referee making sure everyone's playing fair in the financial game?
Exactly. Working alongside the RBI is the National Payments Corporation of India, or NPCI.
Okay.
They're responsible for facilitating both physical and digital payment systems across the country.
So they're kind of behind the scenes.
Yeah, they're the behind-the-scenes team making all those transactions happen seamlessly.
So whether I'm swiping my card at a store or sending money online, the NPCI is involved.
You got it. Now, before we get into the specifics of digital payments,
Right.
we should talk about the do's and don'ts of digital banking.
Good idea.
The workbook really emphasizes safety and security, which is crucial in today's digital world.
Absolutely. What are some of the key recommendations for staying safe online?
While they stress keeping your user ID and password confidential,
Right.
never share them with anyone, and memorize them instead of writing them down.
Good advice. Anything else?
They also recommend logging off completely after each session and clearing your browser cache.
Okay.
And, of course, enabling SMS alerts for your transactions so you can monitor activity on your account. It's like having a digital watchdog.
Okay, those are some solid do's. What about the don'ts? What should we avoid?
Never click on links in emails that claim to be from your bank.
Good point.
Always go directly to the official website, and be wary of anyone asking for personal information over email, SMS, or phone calls if it seems even slightly fishy. It's better to be safe than sorry.
Okay, I'm getting the picture. Be cautious, double-check everything, and trust your instincts. Now, are you ready to walk me through the different ways to make digital payments?
Absolutely. We'll cover everything from the familiar debit and credit cards to the more cutting-edge mobile wallets and biometric-based payments. It's a fascinating landscape that's constantly evolving.
I'm ready to dive in. I'm sure I'll pick up some valuable tips and insights along the way.
Let's start with those familiar cards. Debit cards, credit cards, and prepaid cards.
Okay.
They're like the gateway to digital payments.
Right. I remember getting my first debit card and feeling like I could conquer the world.
It's definitely a step towards financial independence, and while they all look similar, each card serves a different purpose.
Okay, so remind me, what are the key differences between a debit card and a credit card? I always get them mixed up.
With a debit card, you're spending money you already have in your bank account. It's like using digital cash.
Okay.
A credit card, on the other hand, gives you a line of credit you have to pay back later, with interest if you don't pay it off in full each month.
So debit cards are for spending within your means.
Exactly.
While credit cards require responsible use and careful tracking of your spending, what about those prepaid cards?
Those are preloaded with a specific amount of money, like gift cards.
Okay.
They're great for budgeting or for situations where you might not want to use your primary bank card.
Okay, that makes sense. So we've covered the basics of cards. What other digital payment methods are out there?
Well, there's point of sale, or POS, which is the system that lets you swipe or tap your card at a store.
Right.
Then there's mPOS, which is basically POS on a mobile device, and soft POS, which uses tap-on phone technology.
So those food trucks at the park that take card payments are probably using mPOS that's convenient.
Yeah.
And what about online shopping? That's a whole other digital payment world, right?
Absolutely. E-commerce payments are becoming increasingly popular because of their security efficiency and the wide selection of goods and services available online.
And don't forget those trusty ATMs. They've revolutionized how we access our money.
Absolutely. ATMs provide 24/7 access to our funds, allowing us to check our balance, withdraw cash, or even make deposits without having to go to a bank branch. It's a far cry from the days of waiting in long lines during banking hours.
Speaking of revolutionizing things, what about those biometric-based payments? I'm curious to learn more about those.
In India, the Unique Identification Authority of India, or UIDAI, issues Aadhaar cards to all citizens.
Okay.
These cards contain your unique fingerprint and iris scan.
So it's like a high-tech biometric ID card.
Right.
What does that have to do with payments?
You can link your Aadhaar card to your bank account,
Okay.
enabling secure digital transactions using your unique biometric data.
So it's like your fingerprint becomes your password. That's pretty futuristic.
It is the Aadhaar-enabled payment system, or APS,
Okay.
lets you perform basic banking transactions like withdrawing cash or checking your balance using your Aadhaar card. It's a major step towards financial inclusion, making banking services accessible to those who might not have traditional forms of identification.
That's a great example of how technology can be used to bridge gaps and create a more equitable financial system.
Exactly. And there are also micro ATMs,
Okay.
portable devices that can be taken to rural areas, further expanding financial inclusion. They allow people in remote locations to access banking services without traveling long distances.
So it's like bringing the bank to the people? That's amazing. Okay, I'm ready for even more digital payment options. What else is out there?
Let's move on to mobile banking, where your smartphone becomes your financial hub.
Okay.
With internet banking, you can access your account and make transactions from any device with internet access.
So I can check my balance, pay bills, even transfer money without having to leave my house.
It's exactly. The workbook mentions NFT, RTGS, and IMPS, which are different electronic transfer methods.
I'm familiar with those terms.
Okay.
But could you give me a quick refresher on their key differences?
Of course, NFT, or National Electronic Fund Transfer, is a nationwide system for transferring funds between bank accounts.
Okay.
RTGS, or Real-Time Gross Settlement, is similar, but designed for larger transactions and processes payments instantly.
Okay.
And IMPS, or Immediate Payment Service, is a real-time transfer method available 24/7 and is great for everyday payments.
Okay, so each method caters to different needs and transaction types. That's helpful to know, but you mentioned mobile banking apps too.
Right. Most banks have their own apps that let you do everything you could do with internet banking, but from your smartphone.
Okay.
It's like having a mini bank branch in your pocket. You can check your balance, transfer money, pay bills, even manage investments, all from your phone.
That's incredibly convenient. I'm always on my phone anyway, so it makes sense to have all my banking tools right there at my fingertips. What about those QR codes I see everywhere? Are those part of mobile banking too?
Yes, QR codes are powered by the Unified Payments Interface, or UPI, a system developed by the NPCI. It's incredibly simple to use. You open your UPI-enabled app, scan the merchant's QR code, enter the amount, and you're done.
It's amazing how seamless and intuitive these technologies are becoming.
And there are even mobile wallets, like Paytm,
Okay.
which let you store money digitally and make payments without linking your bank account.
Yeah.
It's like a digital cash envelope.
So it's perfect for smaller purchases or sending money to friends and family quickly and easily.
Exactly. And for those who don't have smartphones, there's USSD.
Okay, I'm not familiar with that one. What is it?
It stands for Unstructured Supplementary Service Data.
Okay.
It's a technology that allows you to access mobile banking services using simple codes, even without a smartphone or internet access.
That's amazing. It ensures that everyone can participate in the digital financial revolution regardless of their tech access.
Precisely. And lastly, we have NACH,
Okay.
the National Automated Clearinghouse, which handles repetitive electronic transactions like bill payments or recurring subscriptions.
So I can set up automatic payments and let the system take care of it. That would definitely simplify my life.
Exactly. It's all about automation and making your financial life easier. We've covered a lot of ground, from ancient bartering systems to futuristic biometric payments. It's incredible to see how far we've come.
It's like a whirlwind tour of financial evolution.
Yeah.
I'm starting to feel like a digital finance expert myself, but before we get ahead of ourselves, I think we need to take a step back and focus on the core principles of financial literacy. Where do we even begin?
Well, a solid understanding of budgeting and saving is essential.
Okay.
Remember that simple equation: income minus expenses equals savings.
Yeah.
The goal is to make that savings number as big as possible.
Right. The more you save, the more financial security and freedom you have. But how do I actually make that happen?
The workbook suggests starting by tracking your income and expenses.
Hmm.
It's like being a financial detective, figuring out where your money is going.
It's like gathering all the clues. What's the best way to track my spending?
Well, there's tons of budgeting apps and tools available.
Oh, I bet.
But even a simple spreadsheet or notebook can do the trick. The key is to be consistent and honest with yourself about your spending habits.
So it's about awareness and accountability. Once I have a good understanding of my income and expenses, what's next?
The next step is to create a budget plan. It's about giving each rupee a job to do,
Okay.
making sure your money is aligned with your priorities.
I love that analogy.
Yeah.
So I need to allocate a certain amount of money to each expense category based on my income and financial goals. But what if my expenses are higher than my income? That seems like a recipe for financial disaster.
That's a common concern. If you find yourself in that situation, you need to look for ways to either increase your income or decrease your spending.
Okay.
It might mean picking up a side hustle, negotiating a raise, or cutting back on non-essential expenses. It's about finding a balance that works for you.
So budgeting is all about making conscious choices and adjustments to align your spending with your financial goals. It's not about deprivation. It's about empowerment.
It's exactly. Budgeting gives you control over your finances and helps you achieve your financial aspirations now. Along with budgeting, saving is another crucial piece of the financial literacy puzzle. The workbook highlights some compelling reasons to save.
Like what? Why is saving so important?
For starters, it helps you prepare for unexpected expenses like medical bills or car repairs.
Those are definitely things you don't want to be caught off guard by financially.
Right. Saving also allows you to achieve your financial goals, whether it's buying a house, starting a business, or traveling the world. And let's not forget about retirement.
Retirement, that seems so far off. Why should I be thinking about that now?
It's never too early to start saving for retirement. The power of compound interest means that the earlier you start, the more time your money has to grow.
Ah, the magic of compound interest. So even small contributions can add up significantly over time.
Exactly. The key is to start small and be consistent with your saving habits. Even setting aside a small amount each month can make a big difference in the long run.
Okay, you've convinced me saving is definitely something I need to prioritize now. What about investing? I've always found that concept a bit intimidating. Is it as complicated as it seems?
Investing can seem daunting at first, but it's not as complicated as you might think. The workbook defines investment as an asset acquired with the objective of generating income or appreciation. In simpler terms, it's about putting your money to work for you.
So it's not just about stuffing money under my mattress. It's about making my money grow and work towards my financial goals. What are some common ways to invest?
The workbook mentions fixed deposits, recurring deposits, and mutual funds.
Okay.
We've already talked about fixed and recurring deposits, so let's focus on mutual funds.
Okay, mutual funds. Those have always been a bit of a mystery to me. What are they all about?
Mutual funds pool your money with other investors to invest in a diversified portfolio of stocks, bonds, or other assets.
So instead of putting all my eggs in one basket, I can spread my risk across multiple investments. That makes sense. But how do I even know which mutual funds to choose? There are so many options.
There are resources available to help you research and compare different mutual funds. You can also consult with a financial advisor who can provide personalized guidance based on your financial goals and risk tolerance.
So it's like having a financial coach in my corner helping me make smart investment decisions.
Exactly. And remember, patience is key when it comes to investing. The stock market can fluctuate, and it's important to ride out those ups and downs, focusing on your long-term goals rather than panicking over short-term changes.
So it's a marathon, not a sprint. I need to stay focused on the long game.
Exactly. The workbook also touches on the importance of understanding risk and return.
Okay, risk and return, what's the connection?
Generally, the higher the potential return, the higher the risk involved. It's a trade-off.
So I need to decide how much risk I'm comfortable with based on my financial goals and time horizon.
Exactly. And it's crucial to do your research, understand the fees associated with different investment products, and make sure your choices align with your overall investment strategy.
Okay, this is a lot of information, but I'm starting to see how investing can be a powerful tool for building wealth over time.
It is, and the earlier you start, the better. Remember, investing isn't just for the wealthy. It's for anyone who wants to take control of their financial future.
This is incredibly empowering. I'm feeling motivated to start investing and building a brighter financial future for myself. What else should I be thinking about as I embark on this financial journey?
Well, financial planning is essential for setting yourself up for success. Think of it as creating a roadmap for your financial future.
So it's about setting clear financial goals and developing a plan to achieve them. It's like a financial GPS guiding me towards my destination.
Exactly.
Sure.
Financial planning helps you navigate the complexities of personal finance and stay on track. The workbook suggests identifying your short-term, mid-term, and long-term financial goals.
Can you give me some examples of those different types of goals?
Sure, short-term goals might be things you want to achieve in the next year or two, like saving for a vacation or paying off a small debt. Midterm goals typically span 5 to 10 years, such as saving for a down payment on a house or funding your child's education. And long-term goals, which are 10 years or more in the future, could include things like retirement planning or building a substantial investment portfolio.
So it's about breaking down my big financial dreams into smaller, more manageable steps.
Exactly. And remember, it's okay to adjust your goals along the way as your circumstances change.
So financial planning is an ongoing process, not a one-time event.
You got it. It's
Yeah.
about staying engaged, reviewing your plan regularly, and making adjustments as needed. And don't hesitate to seek professional guidance if you need help navigating complex financial decisions.
Okay, I'm starting to see the value of having a financial plan. It's like a roadmap to financial well-being. But what about financial responsibility? How does that fit into the equation?
Financial responsibility is all about making informed and responsible decisions about your money. It's about understanding your financial obligations and making sure you meet them on time.
So things like paying bills on time-honoring loan agreements and fulfilling financial commitments.
Exactly. It also involves being mindful of your spending habits and making sure you're not living beyond your means. Avoid impulse purchases, create a budget, and stick to it.
So financial responsibility is not just about doing the right thing. It's about protecting myself and my financial well-being.
Absolutely. The workbook also highlights the importance of being aware of the consequences of financial irresponsibility.
What kind of consequences are we talking about?
Well, financial irresponsibility can lead to debt accumulation, damage your credit score, and even result in legal action. It can create a lot of stress and hardship in your life.
Okay, those are definitely consequences I want to avoid. So it's about being proactive and making responsible choices to safeguard my financial future.
Exactly. And it's also important to teach children about financial responsibility from a young age. The earlier they learn about managing money responsibly, the better equipped they'll be to make sound financial decisions as adults.
That's a great point. It's about setting them up for success and giving them the tools they need to thrive financially. Speaking of thriving, this deep dive has been incredibly insightful. So far, we've covered so much ground, from the evolution of money to the fundamentals of financial planning, saving, and investing. Now, are we ready to tackle the final frontier of financial literacy?
Absolutely. Let's explore the world of consumer awareness and protection.
Consumer awareness and protection. Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
It's all about being an informed and savvy consumer, understanding your rights, and protecting yourself from financial scams and fraud. In today's world, where scams and schemes are becoming increasingly sophisticated, it's more important than ever to be vigilant.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
What are some practical tips for staying safe and protecting my finances?
Well, the workbook emphasizes being wary of unsolicited offers that seem too good to be true.
If it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. That's a classic red flag.
Exactly. And never share your personal or financial information with unknown or untrusted sources. Be cautious about online transactions, making sure the websites you're using are secure and reputable.
So always look for the padlock icon in the address bar and double-check the website's URL.
Exactly. And if you notice any suspicious activity or think you've been scammed, report it to the authorities immediately.
So I should contact the police or my bank right away.
Yes. It's also a good idea to regularly check your bank statements and credit reports for any errors or unauthorized transactions. Being proactive and vigilant is key to protecting yourself from financial harm.
Okay, so it's all about taking those extra steps to safeguard my financial well-being. What about consumer protection agencies? What role do they play?
Consumer protection agencies are dedicated to safeguarding consumer rights and resolving consumer complaints. They act as mediators between consumers and businesses, ensuring fair business practices and helping to resolve disputes fairly and efficiently.
So it's not just me against a giant corporation. I actually have resources and support if I need to fight for my rights as a consumer.
Exactly. These agencies have the power to issue warnings, impose fines, and even order businesses to compensate consumers for their losses. They're like the consumer's champion.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
It makes me feel much more confident knowing that I have these resources and protections in place.
Financial literacy is all about empowering yourself with the knowledge and tools to navigate the complex world of finance with confidence and security.
This has been an eye-opening journey so far. We've explored the history of money, the intricacies of banking, the power of saving and investing, and the importance of consumer awareness and protection. I feel like I've leveled up my financial IQ significantly.
It's been a pleasure guiding you through this world. Remember, financial literacy is a continuous journey, and there's always more to learn. But with what you've learned today, you have a strong foundation to build upon.
I'm feeling inspired and empowered to take control of my financial future. Is there anything else we need to know?
We've covered a lot of ground already, but as you continue on your financial journey, keep in mind that financial literacy isn't just about managing money. It's about achieving financial well-being and living a fulfilling life.
I love that perspective. It's not just about numbers. It's about using our financial resources to create the life we want and positively impact the world around us.
Beautifully said. And with the knowledge and tools you've gained, I have no doubt that you'll achieve great things.
This has been an incredibly insightful experience. Thank you for sharing your expertise and guiding me through this fascinating world of financial literacy.
It was my pleasure. Remember, stay curious, stay informed, and never stop learning.
Before we wrap up this deep dive, there's one thing that really stuck with me from the student workbook. That simple equation. Income minus expenses equals savings. It's such a clear reminder that saving is within everyone's reach. Even small, consistent contributions can make a big difference over time.
It's a powerful reminder and a great way to end this deep dive.
Thank you for joining us today on The Deep Dive. We hope you've enjoyed this exploration of financial literacy and gained valuable insights along the way. Be sure to check out the show notes for additional resources and links to explore. Until next time, happy financing.